Yammer the hammer time. That's better.
Welcome to part 3 of the Great American Bronco Road Trip. Today we're doing Devil's Tower, Beartooth Highway, and Yellowstone. So let's get to it. Dynamic, powerful, and ever-changing, depending on the lighting, the fog, the snow. Coming in at 867 feet, the volcanic neck, as it's known, is actually about 3 American-sized football fields on top. Pretty decent. Theodore Roosevelt in 1906 declared this the America's first national monument. This area is spiritually significant for a lot of indigenous people, and especially Lakota. For them, this is the birthplace of wisdom. Climbing the tower, for a lot of people, is disrespectful. This is a sacred place, and even still, about 5,000 people a year climb this. So the park has actually asked for a voluntary ban in the month of June for climbing this tower. For the simple reason, it's a very special month for a lot of spiritual people, and they ask that people do not climb it. And of course, you get a few people that still do. I wish they would respect that. Along the trail, you will actually see a number of brightly colored pieces of cloths. To the trees, to the bushes. These are prayers and offerings. Once again, this is a very spiritual area, and these are not to be disturbed. Originally known as Bear Lodge, there was an English translation issue. It got translated to Bad God Tower. And in the Lakota language, evil spirits and black bear are very similar in meaning. So it translated to Bad God Tower. And that didn't go over too well at all either, and they changed it to Devil's Tower. Problem with that is, being a spiritual area, they do not like being associated with evil spirits. And they did not like the term Devil's Tower. So the indigenous people here have a problem with the name, and I tend to agree. So let's call it Bear Lodge. Now, keeping with the Lakota, they believe that 7 young girls were in the forest and they got attacked by a grizzly bear. And it chased them. And they prayed to the spirits to please save them. And up rose the earth underneath them, rising and rising. And yet the bear itself kept getting bigger and bigger, scratching and clawing its way at them. Almost getting to them, they were saved by an eagle. The eagle came down and swept them away into the stars. And that is the star cluster that we know, Pleiades, also known as the Seven Sisters. We have a movie shot here back in 1975. I think most people know it, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Richard Dreyfuss was obsessed with an image of a place. He basically made it in potatoes. He made it in clay. What it really was a calling to a particular place for a meeting of extraterrestrials. And that place is, you got it, Bear Lodge, Devil's Tower. Tip time. Okay, so Bear Lodge does get quite crowded, especially in popular tourist season. But even in the off season, it can get crowded. So what they've done is they've actually put in crowd control stoplights on your way to the parking lot. And you can get stuck in a long line of traffic. So the idea is to get there as early as possible. If you can get there before 11 o'clock and beat the crowd, that it would be so much better. The Beartooth Highway is said to be one of the most beautiful drives in America, yet it is only open about 5 months out of the year. Crossing Wyoming and Montana, cresting at 10,947 feet, we are on our way to the northeast entrance of Yellowstone. With snowstorms in the summer, severe winds, severe thunderstorms, you've got winding roads, you've got tons of switchbacks, and steep cliffs. This makes this road a very formidable highway. So Wyoming does not maintain this highway. It doesn't meet their standards. So the National Park Services do the maintenance on this, even though this whole area is not a national park. But here's the kicker. It gets snowplowed but once a year, and typically in May. So that's why we only have about 5 months a year to enjoy it. So we made it to our destination, Cook City, just outside of the gates to the northeast entrance to Yellowstone, where we were told we were lucky we made it through the Beartooth Highway because guess what? It was being closed due to bad weather. Tip time and alert time. Okay, so my wife Tracy ends up throwing her back out. And best we could figure is too much driving, not enough stretching. We overdid it trying to get here. So we were saved by a couple of things. We had a throw that we had purchased, didn't believe how hot it actually got. So we had that, and we also had, guess, the old standby frozen water bottles. And this is not just for your typical cooler for food. No, you can use this. If you've hurt yourself, use your frozen water bottles on areas that hurt. So between the hot and the cold, I believe that she worked it out in about a day. So I will leave links in the description for products like this that will come in handy for you. Ah yes, we're here in Yellowstone now. Can you say supervolcano? Can you say 1,000 miles of hiking? And also a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1978. The last eruption of this was 631,000 years ago, and we are standing in the center of the park, and this is where the basin of the caldera is. We're standing also in an area where it's being fed by a supervolcano, creating the world's largest cluster of geothermal features. These include travertine terraces, geysers, mud pots, steam vents, and hot springs. Tip time. Okay, this park is incredibly large. As I said, 2.2 million square miles. And the distance between really nice features is a lot greater than you think. And guess what? Cell service is going to be spotty or non-existent. So what you want to do is download the NPS app, the National Park Services app. And what that will do, it'll allow you to stay connected to get information while you have no connectivity. Mammoth Hot Springs, here we are. My favorite spot, prismatic travertine terraces. Now, unfortunately for us, it wasn't a beautiful sunny day that we expected. No, we got rain, we got thunderstorms, we got clouds, but it also set the mood for some very moody type of pictures and videos. As traveling through Yellowstone, you're going to see wildlife. And once again, stay in your car. If you're out hiking, use the rule of thumb. Now, you do this, if you can see the animal around your thumb, that means you're too close. Have respect, keep safe, keep the animal safe, and enjoy your visit. Tip time again. Is it buffalo? Is it bison? Now, buffalo is an informal word that was created from the Europeans. The more formal and scientific word is, in fact, bison. As a historical fact about bison, we have to look at the amount of bison we have here today. There's about 1,500, 2,000 bison, all from a measly 33. Yes, 33 out of millions of bison. Unfortunately, what happened is that the United States government wanted the Native Americans to take up agriculture. And they didn't want to, so they thought it would be a really good idea to eliminate their food source, which in fact was a bison, and to this day, the bison almost became extinct. Let's protect the species. Here we are, Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. Upper Falls, 109 feet. Lower Falls, 308 feet. All of this formed by volcanic and geothermal activity, and is still to this day being shaped through wind, through water, and guess what? Earthquakes. Yeah, I didn't know this either, but between 1,000 to 3,000 earthquakes per year are registered in Yellowstone. Now, granted, a lot of them are underneath Yellowstone Lake, but still, this area is very dynamic. It is very explosive. Here we are, Old Faithful. We have the heat from the supervolcano, we have the water from rain and snow melt off, and we have silica. So every time this blows, basically it adds a little bit of silica each time to the mound. So this is actually growing and growing each time this erupts. Now, Old Faithful is not the largest geyser in the park. It is also not the most regular geyser in the park. It is in fact the most frequent one. So it does have a schedule, but here's the thing. You got a scheduled time. It might be plus or minus 10 minutes. And I got to tell you, the day we were there, it was cold, it was rainy, my hands were shaking, I could barely hold on to the camera, and guess what? Old Faithful was 10 minutes late. Come on! I hope you enjoyed part number 3. Part number 4 will be coming along soon, where we're going to be climbing Bell Mountain, scrambling the rocks at many pools in Zion, and trying to get through the belly of the dragon and checking out Kodachrome. And this is all in part of us getting to the most epic day that we had on the entire trip. So I am going to list all the gear that I use and all the products that actually have come in handy and we found indispensable on our trip. They will be listed in the description itself. Like, subscribe, sign up for notifications. Until the next time, Scooby-Doo-Wah.